Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Susana Fuertes. Thank you for being here once again to one new episode of ForwardPreneurs. Today, I have the pleasure to have with me my dear guest, Joela. Joela, hello. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for accepting my invite. And it's a true pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Susie. It's my pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. And I want to start by having you to introduce yourself and the name of your business. I know you have two businesses that you will be sharing with us today. And I love it that they are diverse. So I'm very excited to learn a little bit more about the background. So we can start by your introduction, please.
Sure. So my name is Joela Joy, and I've got two businesses like you mentioned. One is Papa's H3 and one is Renew Bahrain. They are diverse, but what's common is it's all to do with the head. Papa's H3 is a hair oil brand where we take care of all your hair care needs. And then we have Renew Bahrain because I'm a psychologist. So we focus on taking care of all sorts of mental issues that people are facing or mental psychological issues that people are facing.
I love it how she combined internal health with exterior hair. Wonderful, beautiful. So it's like the whole package all together. So tell me a little bit more let's start with the hair product. So tell me a little bit more about how it started, how the whole thing began.
Okay.
Well, did you wake up one day and how did it go?
So, like you mentioned, I didn't wake up one day, but before I went to bed, that's when the idea struck.
That's the best time.
Yeah. So, and it was actually during COVID.
Okay.
So, my granddad prepared this hair oil, which was doing wonders for our hair care. And since back in India, we keep traveling often, so we have a lot of different waters that we come across. And that leads to a lot of hair breakage and things like that. But this was an age-old recipe that my granddad prepared this oil from, and it was doing wonders. And the best part was it was completely chemical-free, completely preservative-free, and it had a long shelf life as well. So I was like, almost 90% people are going through hair fall because of thyroid, PCOS, PCOD. Every person you come across is going through hair fall.
Exactly. I'm sure everybody relates to that.
Yeah, and I thought, why not provide a cost-effective solution? Because if you go down and look at the market, the really effective solutions are usually pricey. And I thought, why not provide a cost-effective solution? And that's how Papa's H3 was born.
Amazing. And I think it's great how the idea came during COVID, right? We have seen with previous guests, like during COVID, it was like a new era for so many people. It was like a new awakening. And I think a lot of it has to do with the pause that we took, right? Because in life, sometimes we get so caught up into the routine and everything that we kind of put aside our dreams or our, not just our dreams or goals, but also our creative side, right? So when we have downtime, just like you said, before going to bed, that's when a lot of the ideas flourish and come to happen. Like in my case, there's been times where I wake up at 2 a.m. and I have like this amazing idea. I'm like, oh, is this a dream? I'll make it a reality, right? So sometimes I get caught up into a Monday dreaming. I don't know, maybe you are a psychologist, maybe. Yeah, my dreams are coming to real. I don't know, we'll see. But I wanted to know how the name came up. I know you mentioned your grandfather is behind it, and I love, guys, if you see my Instagram, I'm always posting my grandpa. It's so dear to my heart. I think grandpas have like this special place in our hearts. So I would love to hear a little bit more about his background. When did he started doing that? I know you say it's a tradition, but also I would like to know what was his reaction when he found out that you are bringing this solution to a bigger audience aside from his family, his household.
Yeah, so how that began, my granddad, if I talk about him, his name is Paul. He's no more. He passed away this year itself in June, and it was 90s, yeah. But he lived a very long and content life. And it was towards the last few years of his life, he was completely healthy and whole. The way my husband puts it, he went on his own terms. So how it came to be was he prepared this, and it's something that his parents, when he was very young, which is back in the 1930s,
Okay.
They did stuff like this back in the villages in India because it's all natural ingredients. You put
Like a holistic approach. Okay.
and that's how the whole ingredient came to be. And he had been using it for years. So my cousins, my parents, they've all had this. But you know how our grandparents give things and it's like, yeah, my granddad made that, my grandmom.
Yeah.
That was the only value it had. But I thought, why not? Everyone can enjoy the goodness of something that is so natural, that is so organic. And why not let my granddad leave behind a legacy? So that's
amazing story. I love it. And I'm sure when you first started to introduce the product to the market, I'm sure that you faced some challenges during the way. What are some things that you thought it was going to be easy, but when it came to expose the product, everything, what are some challenges that you face?
So one thing that I faced was I wanted to go into all sustainable packaging because I really believe in preserving the environment and everything that I can do from my end in contributing. But when I actually went out there to look at sustainable packaging, I realized that the packaging was costing much more than our oil. Because that's reasonable the oil is, and to go for a good sustainable packaging, it's costing much more. So that was one challenge that I faced initially, but then we overcame it by going for more reasonable options in terms of packaging. We cut down costs and we were able to come down to a reasonable solution.
Okay, so you found a way to make it happen and to bring the product,
Yes,
still keeping it at an affordable price for everyone to enjoy the benefits of it. And how is one way that we can get to your product? I'm sure people are excited to find out how to get to this.
sure. It be placed on our Instagram account, which is papas.h3. An order can be placed there itself on DMs.
Okay, perfect. So we'll be sharing her Instagram page to make sure you have that product at home.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure your grandpa's legacy is going to be appreciated by everyone that puts their hands on your product.
And he's smiling from up there. Right?
Yes, I'm sure he is. I think it's going to help people, right, to overcome all these hair issues that a lot of times we face. And just like you said, like depending where you go, the water quality is different. And you never know, right? You never know what chemical is some other product. I had a previous guest before, and she's also advocating for natural, holistic. And we were talking about that, how back then, a lot of the products that people will make are natural products. And over the years, everything became just so fake, I guess, or toxic. And it really makes me happy when I see people like yourself bringing those traditions and holistic and organic products back to our daily life, right? Because that's so much needed. I would like to emphasize that you are also a psychologist, and I love it how you had the idea to, bring something to life outside your field, but just like you mentioned, somehow it's related, right? Because it has to do with health.
Yeah.
And I think health is important, not just on the exterior, but also in the interior. So I would like to know a little bit more about your psychology business. On that, if you could tell us a little more about it.
So being a psychologist, what I realized was, even before I became a psychologist, actually, I realized that people are going through all sorts of issues in life, and a lot of it can be resolved by just hearing them out. Before we rush in for expensive medications, lifelong medications that keep us totally drugged and zoned out, why not actually give that person a chance to hear them out? To see what they actually have to say, because when people talk, there's a lot of underlying issues that you can actually hear out. That is how Renew came to be. It's called Renew Bahrain because the whole idea is you come, you meet me, and then you're renewed. You're a new person. Right, you're a whole new person because, like you said earlier, not just external health, but I believe external health is a result of very good internal health. So the whole idea is to be in a very good mental space because that determines the productivity in our entire lives.
Amazing. And usually, are you available for any specific age, or people from all ages are welcome?
People from all ages are welcome because usually if you see, one pattern that you'll often notice is even a person who's really old, their issues would be something that's stemming from their childhood. Or, probably some trauma or things that they went through when they were really small. It's those things that scar them and leave a trauma in their minds, which they take all through their life. So I'm open for people of all sorts of ages.
Amazing. And what's an advice that you will tell people that are perhaps a little bit hesitant to reach out? I know in a lot of countries or communities, mental health is a taboo. And I have noticed a progress that right now, just like we were talking, mental health, it's being prioritized. So what would you tell somebody that it's perhaps not too sure yet to contact you?
So someone who's not too sure to contact me, what I would actually have to say to them is that it's your health. It's only you who's going to be affected by the mental health that you carry. If you're going to be worried about stigma, that's why we have something like Renew in place, because like you said, there are a lot of people who are ashamed of coming in for treatment. I know ashamed is a strong word, but that is the sort of stigma people have towards receiving mental help as well. So what we do at Renew is we come down to your comfort zone. That can be at your place, that can be at a cafe, that can be at any place where you are no longer concerned about the environment that you're in, but you're open to taking the help that you actually need.
Okay, so that's a very great solution. So you can actually come to the customer comfort zone. And that truly makes a difference, right? Because sometimes just by going to clinic, it takes sometimes, just like you mentioned, sometimes people feel ashamed or they don't want to be seen going in there. It's something that we still need to work on, because we should not feel ashamed of looking for help and looking to grow, right? Because just because we go to a psychologist, it doesn't mean that something is terrible wrong with us. It means that we are aware that we need some help in order to bring the best out of us. So I think that's a very amazing approach. So we can also call you like anywhere, coffee shop, home, anywhere. So fantastic.
The idea is for it to be a solution. The focus is the client and their mental health, so that they get to the help much sooner instead of wasting time worried about the stigma associated with actually taking help. So you just don't hesitate any longer thinking, what is it going to look like? Or, you're not conscious of the atmosphere that you're seated in because, I'm in a new place, in a clinic. Am I being judged or what's happening? To avoid all that hassle, we just come down to your comfort zone and we deal with whatever you're going.
Wonderful. I love that idea for sure. What is one thing that you have noticed in some of your clients that affects it the most? Is it perhaps work stress, or is it their time management that they need to work on? What is something that you have noticed, like a pattern? I know everyone is different, but I'm sure there is something that stands out a little bit more among your clients.
So there would be two things that I would say. One is usually lifestyle disorders.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things that mess with our body is the way we are going about living. The times that we're going to bed, usually we're scrolling, we're into all sorts of unhealthy habits, which is affecting our sleep, which then goes on into the next day. So this becomes a chain or a pattern, which leads to stress and frustrations. That is one thing. Another primary thing is relationship stress. So when our relationships are usually doing good, we thrive, we tend to thrive. That's why we have, our parents or our siblings or our husbands or, our kids. But when we go through strains in any sort of relationships, that tends to show up in other areas. So these are usually two prime things.
So that's something that we definitely need to keep in mind to make sure that we are happy and content and feel fulfilled in different aspects of our life, not just to focus on work or family, but it has to be like a whole holistic approach. That's wonderful. Joela, could you please share with me, with our audience, what are some past achievements that you feel proud of that are close to your heart?
Sure. So one thing that I did recently with Renew was we taught child development and child psychology to teachers and nannies and teaching assistants. So the whole idea behind that was to make school a safe place, to make nurseries, Montessori's and all a safe place, a safe haven, because parents are trusting, these places and sending their kids in. But our whole concept was to equip teachers to handle these children in a way better manner. So that was something I did, and it was very effective because I could see that these nannies and these teachers itself were so passionate about what they're actually doing. But conducting this workshop gave them an insight on how they can be more effective in handling children.
And that's truly something that it's needed, right? Because especially when you put your trust into somebody, to take care of your kids. Sometimes they can have the willpower and the heart to do the job, but if they don't have the guidance and the tools to use to do what they do, then it becomes a little bit challenging. But once they get all this insight from you and all this tip, I'm sure they make their work a lot much better.
So that was actually wonderful because, like you said, it also requires a skill set. People think this is a very easy job. All you got to do is take care of kids. But you should come try taking care of a few kids for a few hours and you will know how easy it is.
Yeah.
So it really needs patience. It needs a lot of understanding of how these children are developing so that you can handle them in that manner.
Especially to start at a young age, right? Because as you mentioned before, childhood, it's where everything starts. So a lot of the behavior patterns that we see on adults, it actually started when they were a kid.
Exactly, yeah.
So if we are able to intervene at such a young age, then we can bring the best out of our kids.
Exactly.
And also, it's important for the nannies to have that support and to know what to do in certain occasions where the kids are perhaps doing something that they shouldn't be doing or that is not good for them to be putting at risk and things like that. So having that tool and having that platform where they can educate themselves to educate the kids, it's definitely something that it's mostly needed.
Exactly. I could, actually share a story that took place. One of the nannies shared this with us who was attending the workshop. She said that one of the kids she takes care of, the house help at that place, just because the kid was, I would say, naughty for his age. I mean, like all kids are naughty at that age, but because the house help couldn't handle that kid, she just said that he's, hyperactive and, get him treated. He's a special needs child. But because this nanny had the understanding that no, he just needs some attention. He just needs some love. He just needs some care. And she was able to just give him those things, those little few important things, and the child was settled. So can you imagine where those parents would have taken this child in for a diagnosis because a house help gave some sort of a comment on that child's behavior? So having the knowledge and understanding of child development or child psychology as a teacher or even as a parent is very effective. So our focus is on actually conducting campaigns or awareness workshops wherein we can educate parents or teachers or even adults generally who want to do much better in life or handle situations or different aspects of their life more effectively.
I'm glad you're able to bring these workshops not just within families, but also in the workplace where it's so much needed for employees in order to be productive and bring the best out of them. What are some techniques that you offer in the work setting?
So at the workplace, what we do is, we have a tool called the DMIT test, which is the Dermatographics Multiple Intelligence Test. And what this test does is, it's like a fingerprint-based test which tell you your inborn strengths, your weaknesses, your personality type. It gives you insight into multiple things, which helps you understand what are your actual strengths and weaknesses and why you do well in certain areas and why you're poor in certain areas. And not just that, but how you can develop on those areas. So that helps HR identify the right staff that they need to pick for certain roles, because certain roles require more strengths in certain areas and the same for other things. So it helps HR hire people. Not just that, it helps parents understand their children better. It helps them to understand their learning styles. So certain people are more kinesthetic, they learn better by doing things. Certain people are more visual, more auditory. So when you understand your learning style, it helps you to grasp more content, making your time more productive. So this is one effective tool that we use, which is the DMIT tests.
That sounds incredible. So just with a fingerprint, you can learn about your strengths and weaknesses. So I think it's wonderful that this technique can also be used in the school setting where sometimes kids are prone to be taught just in one teaching style instead of really looking for what's their strength and their weaknesses where they can provide a more customized learning technique. I'm very surprised about the fingerprint. So we just go there, you check our fingerprints.
You don't even need to come, we can come to your comfort zone again.
Perfect, yes, that's the wonderful thought.
It's very simple, and you just need to give us a few days time until we put together your report. And then we give the children or the individual a counseling session wherein the report consists of maybe, let's say, 56 pages or 23 pages. It depends on the kind of report that you want to go for, in how depth it has to be. And then we give you an understanding of all the things mentioned in the report.
Perfect. So it's something similar to the MIT personalities, but you get to that after getting our fingerprint.
Yeah, exactly. So it's similar to MIT, but the added, which is the dermatographics, which is we take your fingerprint. Now, what makes you and me unique? We all have similar patterns of fingerprints. So maybe you would have one, I would have one, someone else would have one. But what makes us all unique is the count or the number that we have between all these lines of our fingers.
I'm super excited to get that done.
So can you imagine the probability, which is like 1 in a million, that it won't match? That's how we're all unique.
Exactly. So that's definitely a very helpful tool that we can all incorporate. And how can we reach out to you? You said through your Instagram page, we can reach out and make an appointment.
Through Renew Bahrain. Renew_BH, which is our page for the DMIT and everything to do with counseling and therapy. So someone can just DM us there or drop us a text on WhatsApp.
So we'll make sure we add that to our interview.
Sure.
So people can reach out to you, and I'm sure you will be getting a lot of fingerprints, including mine.
Yes.
Does it matter which finger usually?
Yeah, we need like all of the fingers, one print of all of them.
Oh, amazing. Okay. And how long does the whole procedure take?
It would take maybe 4 to 5 days at the max for us to get back to you with the
results. But the procedure itself, where you take the fingerprints and all that?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Less than that.
5 minutes, it will solve your life.
Exactly.
That's like really good investment.
And it's a one-time solution.
One-time solution. So once you get it done, you don't have to do it again. It's just...
Once you get it done, you get an entire picture of who you actually are. You get to know yourself more in depth. You get to know what you can do better, and if there are certain things that you want to improve. Okay, the way I would put it is, some parents want their kids to be a doctor, or maybe the kid themselves want to be a doctor, but you need to know whether you can be a surgeon or whether you can just be another doctor, because a surgeon requires fine gross motor skills. Their fingers need to be sharp and steady. So do you have that strength inborn, or do you need to work on it? This is something you can understand. So it's not that just because you're biologically created a certain way, that's all you can be. No, you can develop on those areas.
Exactly.
So this helps you understand what you need to develop if you want to pursue your ambitions. Not just that, but like I said earlier, it gives you an understanding of your learning style. So that makes it easier for you to grasp in more content to develop your skills in your suitable learning style.
That sounds phenomenal. I'm loving it, because this way we can act at an early stage.
Exactly.
And really put our time and effort on the things that we need to work on based on what we're dreaming of, right? So it gives us like a realistic expectation of what to do in order to achieve our goals. So amazing tool. I have never heard of it. I think it's very, very, very effective. I know you like to get involved into community and awareness. What are some causes that you are working on?
So one area, like I said earlier, was child development. Alongside that, we have a lot of cases where we see many children are special needs these days, and leaving parents frustrated and teachers frustrated. But those kids just need certain tools. You just need certain tools or skills, and of course patience, to be able to handle them. So the whole idea that I have is to provide more awareness campaigns to help parents deal with these children more easily, to help teachers deal with them more easily, so that, like, people think, because this child is special needs, there's not much he can do in life. That's not true. That child can develop, provided it's given the right environment, a safe environment, and an environment which is more suitable as per that child's needs. So that is something when it comes to special needs. And of course, different other areas as well, like moms, because moms spend usually more considerable amount of time with their kids. I'm not saying dads don't, but in the societies that we come from, usually moms spend a lot more time. So helping moms avoid burnout by taking care of themselves helps them to take care more of their kids and their environment as well.
What are some of the things that you believe we should give back to our community?
Well, for me, if you ask me, my burden or my vision would be to give back to the community in India, wherein we have a lot of destitute people on the streets, which are like homeless people. And I think homeless people are considered to be lonely or, mentally unstable and all those things. But if you go in and see there is a root cause for everything, how can a person be alone in a world of so many people? How can you be lonely if I'm sitting right here? How can I be lonely if, they're sitting right there? So that makes a big difference, just being there for that individual. So my whole idea is to set up a destitute home, a shelter home for people back in India, and not just in India, that's just one place, but also moving to other areas, wherein we provide support, mental help to people so that they come out of the issues that they're facing. And the whole idea is not to create a census, we have many census gathering hospital, we have many places back in India where we have loads of beds and we're running out of area and we're just stuffing people in. Yeah, the whole idea is not to have a place like that, but to have very limited capacity so that people come in, recover, and they go back out so that they can go back and make the impact in the world that they're created to make. So we help them heal, we help them recover, we give them time, we give them space. We also educate them with certain skills so that they can, learn something, maybe set up a shop for them or buy them a vehicle so that they can become a driver, teach them things, whatever they're interested in, maybe teach them pottery or jewelry making, and then send them back into the society.
I like that idea because, as you mentioned, a lot of times the people, they need like one-on-one, right? One-on-one interaction in order for them to bring the best out of them. So sometimes it's not just about giving them food and a shelter. You need to develop a skill. Yeah. So that's something that is truly needed in order to succeed in life, whether it's you learn a skill that might take you a few months or years, but having that within you, it will help you grow as a person, especially as she mentioned, sometimes you don't need these big capacity places. What you need is a true connection, a long-lasting connection, where you can help the person from the beginning until they're able to sustain themselves, because it takes a lot. It's not just getting mental help. It's not just about giving you food or a shelter or a job. It's a combination of everything. So being able to guide this person from the beginning to the end and provide them with all the tools that you are able to offer them will definitely make a change in their life. So for that, thank you so much. I think it's a beautiful cause. And like she said, she will do this in India, but her goal is to spread it out. It doesn't matter where we help, right? It doesn't matter if it's in India, if it's in South America, if it's here. As long as we make a difference, that's all what it truly matters. So I want to bring awareness to people that even if you help one person, it makes a truly difference because that person can help somebody else. And the ripple effect, it's endless.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for everything that you do, for having not just a business, but also for thinking about paying it forward. I really like to interact with business owners and with people in general that make paying it forward part of moving forward. Because sometimes a lot of people get caught in being selfish and just thinking about how to make money, and there's no really a reason or a vision that is genuine behind it. And as a society, in order to grow together and make a better environment for everyone, we all should unite. We all should help each other and to bring the best out of not just ourselves, but everybody else.
Yes.
Yes. Any takeaways that you would like to share with people out of the interview? What is something that you would like to highlight in regards of, how you see things in our society?
So one thing I would like to say is be fearless. Why I'm saying be fearless is because oftentimes what stops us from going out there and doing what we have that call to do, or what we have that push or that drive to do, is the fear of what people are going to think, is the fear of failure. So I just want to say that your fear of failure is only going to hold you back. So just let go of that fear, be fearless, go out there, do it. It's not called failure, but it's called a learning process. Change your outlook towards that. It's a process to grow. It's an opportunity. Stop looking at problems as obstacles, but look at them as opportunities. And that way you can make so much more of a difference. So I just want to say be fearless.
Be fearless, as she said. And I love it. We have to learn how to see problems as a challenge, right? As an opportunity to grow, to learn. And I always tell people, the way I see things, I usually see them like a puzzle, right? Like for me, when I have a challenge, I see it as a puzzle. I'm like, okay, so how I'm going to put this together? How I'm going to come out? I don't I don't focus on saying, okay, I'm missing this, I'm missing that. No. So what do I need to complete? So that's something that I'm glad that you are highlighting.
Yeah, focusing on the bigger picture.
Exactly.
So when we face setbacks or when we face any sort of obstacles, what I usually do is I take a moment to pause and reflect. Just cool down. Take some time to cool down. If you're going to try to handle those things being hot-headed, it's not going to work. It's just going to get more messier and more entangled and leave you even more frustrated. Just take a moment to step back and then self-reflect. Like you said, just look at the entire picture and see, what's missing. Just give some time to yourself and then go ahead and brainstorm and see what could put things into a better picture.
Amazing advice. So everyone, get your fingerprints ready, because right here, Joela can come to your place and she can give you all this wonderful advice and tools so we can become a better version of ourselves, and we can also help out our family members and all our loved ones, as she mentioned, not just in our household but also in the workplace. She can always bring workshops to help you increase productivity at your workplace and your business. And yes, Joela, thank you so much for being here, for taking the time to share all your expertise with us, the wonderful advice and new techniques that I'm really surprised about. So I'm surely will be contacting you to give you my fingerprints so you can give me all the tools that I need to succeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.